Vote this week and we will pass it and we will send it to the Senate. And for more than 80 days where the president has ignored us, called people names for things that he even voted for himself, makes no sense or logic to it. I think as president and the leader of the free world, this is one of the problems.
And there was House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Sunday Morning Futures with me yesterday, slamming the president for refusing to negotiate on the debt ceiling, saying Biden is afraid. It's been 80-plus days since the speaker has sat down with the president to discuss spending limitations. The Washington Post is reporting some in the White House are considering lifting the debt ceiling unilaterally without Congress. Joining me right now is Wisconsin Congressman and member of the House Financial Services Committee and chairman of the Committee on House Administration, Brian Steil, is with us. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
So what are your expectations for this bill? Do you believe that it passes the House with 218 votes?
I think it will pass the House this week. I think it's essential that it does. We need to limit the growth of our government. We need to save taxpayer monies. We need to make sure we get our fiscal house in order. The president's path of not negotiating is dangerous. It's reckless. And ultimately, this bill will bring him to the table with the House of Representatives.
Well, at the same time, there are sources within the White House who are claiming that the president's going to go it alone. So you may have a bill that passes the House, but then it's up to the Senate and the president. And doesn't look like you've got a willing partner there.
We passed the days of a monarchy and the Revolutionary War. I think it's essential that we have a bill that goes through regular order, the House of Representatives, the United States Senate, signed by the president. The fact that this president has refused to negotiate with Republicans in the House for the past 75 days shows how dangerous and reckless President Biden is. That's why it's essential we bring the bill to the floor. We need to limit the growth of our federal government spending, get our house in order, and we can do that by passing this bill this week.
Well, we also understand that the president is mum on all of this speculation about all of the money that he and his family have taken in from communist China. I spoke with the Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures, and he said he now expects at least 12 members of the Biden family have received money from foreign entities. I spoke with Congressman Comer about President Biden and his family and what they were actually being paid for. Watch this. One source sends me this. One of the huge benefits the Chinese may well have paid for was then Vice President Biden presiding over the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding, an MOU, on May 7, 2013, between our Public Company Accounting Oversight Board and the Chinese Regulatory Commission to waive federal auditing requirements for hundreds of Chinese companies listed on U.S. exchanges. Was that part of it?
There are 6 specific decisions that Joe Biden made, either as vice president or president, that are very concerning to us, that we believe could potentially lead back to payments that were made to these LLCs that were then laundered down to the Biden family members.
So, Congressman, what do you know about this? James Comer says he's looking at 6 major decisions that then Vice President Joe Biden made. Were those decisions in response to the Chinese Communist Party, and is that what the CCP paid for, sending him millions?
Unlike Democrats, we're going to let justice follow the facts. I think it's appropriate to be asking these types of questions to make sure we're getting the answers. The American people deserve to know it. The fact that Congressman Comer is even asking these questions brought forward a whistleblower from the IRS who wants to come and share his story. I think that's important. I think at the end of the day here, what you're seeing is we are bringing accountability to the federal government. That has been not in existence when it was under one-party Democratic control.
Well, there's also going to be a Congressional Review Act this week that the Speaker was telling me about because of an issue around solar panels. What do you know about this dumping of solar panels by China?
What we continue to see is China not play by the rules. It's one of the biggest challenges of the Green New Deal policies is all of these taxpayer dollars, lots of them are going to companies based in China. What we should be doing is making sure we're investing here in the United States of America, not in China. We need to review all of the federal funds that are flowing out and make sure that we actually hold China accountable, that they're finally playing by the rules.
You know, Liz Peek, jump in here because this is really an issue that gets me. We keep talking about how all the supply chains that are so important are in China, whether it be for, technology or whether it be for pharmaceutical and the underlying active ingredients made in China. And instead of actually getting us off relying on China, this president's agenda, the climate change agenda, sends all of this back to China. The solar panels are made there. The batteries are made there. So after this climate change agenda, are we even more reliant on communist China?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, right? We're all talking about insourcing, and yet, yes, this agenda, I think 70% of the products related to climate solar panels and wind turbines and so forth still do come from China, Maria. What we've really done is kick off a trade war with Europe because they're the ones that are really being hurt by Biden's increasingly protectionist policies that prohibit importing products related to these things. China is actually okay. So that doesn't seem to be really working the way it was meant to. I don't know what Comer's sixth policies are, but it's going to be very interesting to see whether any of them have to do with this incredibly ambitious Green New Deal, which most Americans, I think, have no idea how much it's going to cost us and how much it's going to further our reliance on China, two extremely important and unpopular issues.
Well, you know what? I mean, I think that at that time when he was vice president, they weren't as aggressive pushing that. So I would venture to guess it's more about giving China access, whether it be getting their companies on our exchanges and not having to follow the rules or buying up land. But we'll see. I mean, the fact that Congressman Comer said there were 6 decisions that he's looking at is quite newsworthy. Congressman, your thoughts on getting those supply chains out of China so we're less reliant on China? Why are we going in the other direction with this climate change agenda?
It's beyond frustrating what the Biden administration is doing. When they shoved forward their Green New Deal policies, what they did is they created tax credits where a lot of that money could go to companies based in China. We should be doing that here in the United States. What's essential is what the bill is that we're going to bring to the floor this week. It actually grows the economy. It puts forward pro-energy policies to unleash American energy. So we're investing here in the United States rather than in communist China.
All right. And you think he'll get the votes that he needs to pass the House? We'll be watching.